Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let us not forget that. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Buenos dias, everyone. Hopefully you guys are all doing well out there. Like I said, another day above the dirt is always a mother-loving blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things we got to talk about. There's been a lot of things that have been going on. There's some other things in regards to drones. We got more conversations about drones being spotted in America. Drones. But that's another conversation in itself. We got a lot going on. As much as we've been hearing that things are starting to wind down in regards to America being involved in this stuff in Iran, I don't know if that's entirely true. I beg to differ. How's that? I beg to differ. But we will see. I think there's a reason why we're starting to wind down. But we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. So please do me a solid, okay? Please do me a solid before we get into the show, getting things going. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Please and thank you. Follow. All right? Follow. Hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Okay? Subscribe right here. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get into it because it's Saturday, and I know we all got things to do. All right, it's not going to be a super long show, but there is a lot that has been percolating, and I might be on a little bit later on today if things continue to percolate. I always say that because you just never know. All right. And I don't want you guys to be super surprised if I come on at a random time on a Saturday or even a Monday through Friday. Right. Because sometimes the news breaks and the news waits on no one. Right. Bad things happen or good things happen at any given day, at any given time. So I might be back on given if there is something to report that is big going on. All right. You have been warned. We've all been warned. I feel like I say this every show or as many shows as I can. We all know the procedure here, I'm assuming. But let's get into the top story right now as we speak. Top story right now, they're saying, according to a CENTCOM commander, they're saying 8,000 targets have been hit in Iran. 8,000 targets hit. They say their Navy is not sailing anymore. No Christopher Cross over there. If you get what I'm saying. No sailing. No drifting away. No. Could it be? No, it can't be. Because apparently they sunk all their battleships. Yeah, let's take a look at this, shall we? Pretty insane if you ask me. So, and of course we got a video to take a look at too. CENTCOM chief Brad Cooper, said Saturday that the Pentagon's operation in Iran has struck more than 8,000 targets since the start of the Middle East conflict. So they have now tallied up 8,000 targets now. In his update posted on the social platform X, Cooper said the campaign has weakened Iran's combat capabilities and crippled its naval forces. I beg to differ, because now we're hearing that they've been going off and dropping missiles in other areas that surpass what they originally said their missiles are capable of doing. That they've gone hundreds of miles further, attacking other bases nowhere near the Middle East area, which is also very interesting. So people are trying to understand what's going on. Now here's the thing. There was attempted strikes. Okay, there were attempted strikes. They were not successful, but they were attempted strikes on these particular bases outside of the Middle East that, like I said, surpassed the mileage that they said that their missiles could reach. They tried to. They were deflected, right? They were shot out the sky, if you will. All right. They were not successful, but they were there. They flew out there. Okay. Which is absolutely insane, just so you know. Okay. So, of course, like I said, they said that they weakened Iran's combat abilities and crippled its naval forces. He added that the strikes have successfully targeted Iranian missile sites, and attacked drones. We're going to be circling back on the drones conversation here very soon. Like I said, we are hearing one thing and we're seeing something else. Let me repeat that again. We're hearing one thing and then we're seeing something completely different. And this should be a major concern for all of us throughout the entire world, actually. Let's not forget what you talked about yesterday. Just a quick reminder, okay? Remember yesterday, just a trip down memory lane. Back into yesterday's conversation, right? We mentioned a conversation where the Iran's foreign minister said out loud, hey, don't let us catch your kids outside at these tourist sites because we're going to make their lives a living hell. Did he not say that? So as much as they say, oh, yeah, there's nothing to really worry about in these drones and these missile sites, all that stuff, we hear one thing, but then we're seeing something completely different. This is a huge problem. We need to find out what's going on here and nip this thing in the bud. But you are telling us out loud, okay, that sleeper cells have been activated throughout the world. So if your kids are vacating in Jamaica, or they're out there in Cancun, or they're enjoying themselves, in Puerto Rico, if they can even get on the damn plane at this point, okay, let's keep it real. Most of your kids are spending their spring break doggone at the freaking TSA line because of what's going on here in America. Like I said, we have plenty of problems here in America to deal with. We need to be focused on what's going on here, but we focused on what's going on over there. There's so much going on, okay? It's a cluster F. I would curse because it is Saturday, but I know it's still in the morning, and I know you got kids in the background. You can't do earmuffs. Some of them don't even understand earmuffs yet. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we're in a cluster F right now. There's a lot of issues right now. I think we can all agree on that. But moving on. All right. So he's saying, we struck down all these sites and we've taken down these attack drones. Well, we'll see about that. Continuing, he says their Navy is not sailing. Like I said before, anti-Christopher Cross. Okay. They are not out there sailing, drifting away. Okay. No, could it be? Apparently they're all down. Okay. Their tactical fighters are not flying. And they've lost the ability to launch missiles and drones at the high rates seen at the beginning of the conflict. So sure, in the beginning of the conflict, big time, things were being launched like crazy. So now it's just kind of like a pew, pew, pew. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're shooting a few blanks, but nothing crazy, right? The comments come after President Trump signaled Friday that the U.S. is getting very close to meeting its objectives in the region. What are those objectives? Remember I talked about this yesterday, just another flashback, right? Didn't we talk about what are these objectives? Remember the beginning of the show, we were sitting there going like, hey, they're talking about regime change, right? And then now we're talking about, what are we talking about now? The main character ain't the main character no more. Or how about this? The main character's objective is not the same objective anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like get the girl in the first 2 episodes, By episode 13, you're like, wait a second. Whatever happened to that girl? Did she die? Did he ever get her? What's going on? Did we completely forget the plot? What's going on here? So when he says we're meeting our objectives in that region, what that be though? What are those objectives? I can't even say the word now. What are those objectives? Real talk, what are those objectives? Remember in the beginning of the show, it was regime change. Why are we watching this like a Tyler Perry movie? Remember, it's like, damn, we get thrown off because of the wigs and the dialogue in the movie. You know what I'm saying? You're like, whoa, that wig is not fitting that man's face at all. Like that afro off. That's supposed to be a beard. You know what I'm saying? You better pick that afro, daddy, because it's flat on one side. You know what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've ever seen any of Tyler Perry's movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? But we give him some love because he's Tyler Perry. We're talking about a real war here. And we're wondering, what is the objective now? Because in the very beginning, it was about regime change. We completely lost the plot, y'all. We've lost the plot. Moving on. The Trump administration is working to secure safe passage of ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Cooper noted that American forces have struck 130 Iranian vessels as part of the largest elimination of a navy over a 3-week period since World War III. The U.S. and Iran are locked in a struggle for control of the strategic waterway, a narrow channel between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. And that carries about 20% of the world's oil supply. Okay, and we ain't talking about that olive oil or that vegetable oil. We're talking about that liquid gold. Commercial shipping traffic has been stifled for weeks due to the de facto blockade imposed as part of Tehran's retaliatory campaign, intensifying fears of prolonged fuel supply disruptions and global inflation. Escalating attacks in the Gulf, including on vessels and energy infrastructure, have pushed crude oil prices as high as $119 per barrel in the recent days. I've heard even higher. Y'all. Okay? Even higher. Yeah. The price of Brent crude, the international benchmark, was $112 per barrel as of 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. Yeah, it's only going to get higher. Can you take me high enough? It's going to get higher. Trust me, it's about to get higher. Get ready, y'all, because it's about to get higher. And I ain't ready for it. I don't want it. Neither do you. We also have remarks from the heads of United Airlines that are starting to cut. They're starting to cut their flight plans. They're cutting their flights, y'all, because gas is getting expensive. I'm not kidding. So air travel, and that's the first airline to speak out and say that, and saying, oh, we're cutting down how much we're flying because jet fuel is getting expensive now. So get ready for travel, the cost of travel, to be even more expensive. Not only the gas that you're pumping into your own car, the gas that they're putting into jets and planes and all that is about to go skyrocket, sky high as well. And now they're cutting down the amount of travel that these planes are actually doing now. That's one airline that's saying that. We're going to talk about that in a second. But that's one airline that's doing that right now. You know for a fact if one is already saying that, that's the first domino. And more will come. Get ready, It's about to get knuck and futs out here. It's about to get frosty.
Developments in Operation Epic Fury. CENTCOM releasing this new footage just last hour showing sweeping strikes against Iran. The number of terror targets hit by the U.S. now tops 8,000. Lucas Tomlinson joining us live from Dubai with the very latest. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, guys. And the Natanz nuclear facility was also hit. That was Iran's center of enriched uranium. Officials say this is likely recon by fire. You bomb these nuclear sites, and of course, Natanz, one of the 3 nuclear sites hit during Operation Midnight Hammer over the summer. You bomb them to see if any radiation is released. If no radiation released, it's probably none there, or you miss the target. So target down, you go to other nuclear sites. And President Trump posting on Truth Social, he's considering winding down this war as we look at these HIMARS launchers launching strikes deep into Iran. And Admiral Cooper, the CENTCOM commander in charge of prosecuting the war, out with this new battlefield update.
U.S. forces continue to take bold action and remain on plan to eliminate Iran's ability to project meaningful power outside its borders. Their navy is not sailing, their tactical fighters are not flying, and they've lost the ability to launch missiles and drones at the high rates seen at the beginning of the conflict. Just could not be prouder of our warfighters, and I know that the American people share in the same pride.
Now, in a sign Iran still has some fight left, guys, it's launched 2 intermediate-range ballistic missiles at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. Reportedly, one misfired, the other destroyed by a U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer firing an SM-3 interceptor outside the Earth's atmosphere in space. Now, for years, Iran insisted it did not have missiles that could fly this far. Recall, for years, officials accused Iran of hiding its ballistic missile program under the cloak of a civilian space launch program to put satellites in space.
Now, let me make this abundantly clear. They of course, they're not going to let us know what they're capable of doing. All right. But take a look at how far away this Diego Garcia island, OK, this army base or this military base island is from the Middle East. Of course, they're going to be like, oh, no, we do not have these missiles like that. Oh, you crazy, crazy people. We don't have that ability. Yeah, they do. Do you really think they're going to show us all their cards? Do you really think that's what they're going to do? Oh, yeah, we have these kind of missiles, and we have these kind of drones, and we can have these kind of planes, and these type of warships, and we have this, that, and the third, just so you know exactly what kind of arsenal we got. Come on now. Come on. They're not going to let us know what's going down, baby. Just like Trump, when we ask him, are you going to deploy troops? Are you going to put boots on the ground, sir? Please tell us. And he's like I'm going to tell you. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I'm not going to tell the media like I'm dumb. You know what I'm saying? So if he's doing the same, you don't think they're doing the same doggone thing? Come on now. Come on. Should we be surprised? No. We should not be surprised at all. And I'm telling you right now, this is what they're telling us. This is letting us know what they're capable of. And listen, you know for a fact, I'm not sitting here like going, woo, Iran. No, I'm not. Okay? I want them to lose. I want America to win. I want us to get us as far away from this situation as quickly as possible so that we as Americans aren't going through what we're going through. Let there be an actual regime change. Let there be freedom in Iran. If that is the objective, let me just say that again. If that is the real objective, because I feel like we lost the plot like a week ago. Now it's about the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. It's about it's about oil. Has nothing to do with the people anymore. Remember that. Remember that. Okay? We lost the plot. Why did I say plot? We lost the plot. Okay? Completely. But now they're capable of doing even further. They can launch missiles even further. That is not good. Here's the thing. I want to make this abundantly clear too. We are going to be talking about that. We're going to be discussing this in just a minute here too, about these missiles being fired at this Diego Garcia base. Okay, this is a massive big deal. Okay, this is a massive, massive big deal. Okay, but I want this to make this abundantly clear. All right, no missile actually landed on the base. They shot them out the sky. They stopped them from actually striking the base, but they still got there. They still were flying towards them. Now, I know that this distance between Iran, okay, and Diego Garcia is nowhere near the distance between like America and Iran. So we still have nothing to worry about. Cool. But they could still target other areas that they said that they couldn't do before. This also tells us that they have some tricks up their sleeves and they ready. Do you remember? He says 47 years they've been making hell on earth. They've been making the people of Iran's lives hell on earth, right? Terrible regime, tyrannical, etc., right? Yes, I say dismantle, take it all apart. Since you're already out there, since the original goal was the regime change, right? Well, you don't think that they've taken those 47 years to think about what they're going to do? Building things, building technology, having certain things in their arsenal that maybe they haven't really put out yet because they didn't need it yet. And maybe they're starting to use it now that us as Americans and intelligence may not know even existed that they had in their possession. I'm just saying, think about all that, guys. Think about all of that. They said there's no way they can go that far. And now they did. That's a big freaking deal, guys. And they're not saying that this was launched from some warship just a few miles off of this Diego Garcia base island. No, just came out of nowhere. That's a big freaking deal, guys. That should concern all of us, including our brothers and sisters that have been deployed over there right now. Like I said, what are these guys capable of doing? That should be a massive concern for all of us.
U.S., as we heard from Admiral Cooper, now hitting over 8,000 targets across Iran, penetrating deeper into the country, which is twice the size of Texas. Cooper also said the 5,000-pound satellite-guided bunker-busting bombs not only destroyed storage sites for anti-ship cruise missiles near the Strait of Hormuz, but also destroyed intelligence hubs and radar sites, all in an attempt to reopen the strait, which Iran now appears to be using as a toll booth. And 2,000 Marines have also set sail aboard the USS Boxer Amphibious Ready Group out of San Diego. It will take about a month for them to arrive. Now, guys, here on the ground in Dubai, it was a relatively quiet night. Only a small handful of ballistic missiles and drones fired at this country. In the course of the last 3 weeks, over 2,000 drones and missiles have been fired here. That's more than twice the number launched at Israel. Guys?
Hey, real quick, Lucas, I watched that. I listened to the update from Admiral Cooper, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that he also said in there that they conducted the longest artillery strike in U.S. Army's history?
That's right. So those launchers, if you want to show the viewers the video again, those are HIMARS launchers being launched from land, likely somewhere near the Persian Gulf, firing the new precision strike munition, which is the longest. These are satellite-guided rockets that can fly deeper in Iran than you could the other munitions like ATACMS or some of the other guided missile rounds or guided rocket rounds.
Hold on, let me. I got to get this super chat here really quick. I just saw it in the corner of my eye. I'm sorry. I usually do the super chats at the end of the show, but this one is kind of important given the fact that what we're talking about right now. So the Bella Stella, thank you so much for the love all the way from UAE. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to say this before we get into the super chat. Please be safe. Okay. We're going to get into the super chat, but please, for good God, please be safe out there. Pascal, I'm in the UAE. We're currently on missile attack alert and are sheltering in place. Of these 8,000 targets, missile launchers and drones seem to be working just fine. Yeah. Missiles in Abu Dhabi, drone attacks in Dubai for the last couple of hours. See what I'm saying? Please be safe out there. Okay. I really beg you to please be safe out there. Real talk. This is absolutely insane. And this is the kind of thing that worries me because there are people out here that are just, innocent people that have nothing to do with this, and you got someone like Bella, the Bella Stella, in harm's way. And as much as they say, oh yeah, we've squashed this and we've stopped that and we've stopped this and none of these things are going to happen anymore, or we've sunk all of their battleships. Well, they're still able to fly and launch missiles and drones in specific areas, and they're still doing so right now as we speak. So you got missile attack alerts going off, and this particular person, Bella, is sheltering in place. And God only knows what could come of of that situation. So please, Bella Stella, please be safe. Please be safe. Okay? We're all praying for you. And we're all praying for everybody in those areas that are in the line of fire right now as we speak, because that is absolutely crazy. But again, 8,000 sites, 8,000 strikes have been done, so on and so forth. And what has come of it? Still nothing. Like I said, I just don't think that we have fully understood who we're dealing with here. And I don't mean like, oh yeah, they're super dangerous, but they could be super dangerous. They've had time to fester. They have had time to cook. They have had time to prep. And as much as we think they're done, they got more. You see what I'm saying? So again, this stuff is very, very terrifying. Okay, let me just finish this last piece here, and we're going to move to the next part.
Lucas, one of the great things about having a reporter like you is you have military experience, so you can add that to the conversation as well. So I'd love if you could answer this question for me. So President Trump putting out on Truth Social that he's winding this up, a really striking, I think, a really optimistic tone that he can reach his objectives quickly, and that is his goal. However, at the same time, we're partnering with Israel, who might have different goals. President downplaying a little bit, but you can tell he wasn't very happy with Israel striking those oil fields, which could, in fact, perhaps expand this conflict. So how can he reach these objectives quickly? And how does a country like the United States, who's clearly the main force here, the main financer, and has all the weapons or more weapons than Israel, and is the leading partner, how do they work with a partner who might have slightly different goals in terms of just degrading and getting out quickly, much in the way that he did with Operation Midnight Hammer, which was very successful?
What's notable, Rachel, the president said he's considering winding down the war. And remember, before he launched the Pegasus package to grab Nicolas Maduro and his wife over New Year's, when the press pool asked him, what's your goal for the new year? He said peace. Next thing he launched that operation. So perhaps President Trump wants to keep Iran and its leaders on edge. And speaking of the leader of Iran, we heard from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He candidly admitted he does not know who's running the country right now. And the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they're pretty decentralized, Rachel. They have 31 different units corresponding with the 31 different provinces of Iran. It's a very large country, and it's very clear that orders were given all the way down to pretty low levels what to do in the face of these kind of decapitation strikes. And you're right, the Israeli military is going after leaders, assassinations. It's going after the Basij, the IRGC's paramilitary force in charge of stifling internal opposition. U.S. military going after more military hard targets like ballistic missile sites, air defense sites, and of course, really mowing the grass around the Strait of Hormuz, trying to get that opened up. Yes, 80% of that oil and gas goes to Asia, but as we've seen with the gas prices, wherever somebody's watching this right now, they're seeing the high prices at the pump. Need to get the strait open. You're also seeing some side deals. I mentioned a toll booth in Strait of Hormuz. India has been cutting deals with the Iranians to get their tankers out. China, who gets about half of its oil from the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf, expect those kind of deals to be worked out as well.
Really?
I'm telling you right now what they just said a second ago, which is also a recipe for disaster. When they said Benjamin Netanyahu even says he doesn't even know who is running Iran. That's not something that you want. I just want to make that abundantly clear. You don't even have anybody that you can actually talk to and negotiate. Ali Larijani, who has been eliminated, okay, that man's life has been gone, is gone because, of a missile strike. They targeted him and they took him out, all right? This guy allegedly was one person that was actually trying to negotiate, I guess, in the past for, creating some sort of peace. But now that particular person is gone. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to have absolute tyrannical, a tyrannical upheaval going on, and you're going to have people, like he said, the lower ranking, officials, still exacting what the higher officials said before they lost their lives. Hey, if they kill me, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. If they take my life, I want you to proceed with the mission. Do this, and this, right? And look at what we're seeing. Look at what we're seeing right now. Okay? Look at what we're seeing right now. They have no one that they could actually reach out to. They don't even know who to talk to see if they can even quell this thing before it gets even worse. This is a big problem. This is a very, very big problem. Now, like I said, you got to at least leave somebody alive. You know what I'm saying? You got to leave at least somebody alive. But that's not exactly what happened here. That's not what we're seeing right now. Now, is it? Like I said, this is a recipe for some serious, serious disaster. And I think that all of us should be concerned about it. But here's the thing. Let's talk about these missiles that they're able to launch and hit. Okay. Not only are they having that ability to launch at the distance that they can now. Okay. They said it was only for, only a couple hundred miles. Now it's several more 100 miles than what we previously have been told. Okay. That's one thing. Here's the other thing. US and Israel did strike another nuclear site, another nuclear facility, which is obviously a very, very big deal, which caused them to react and start bombing back, right? So let me just show this. Hold on. Where the heck is it? Where is it? Hold on. Where did it go? I had it and then it disappeared on me. Hold on, guys. Well, they discuss it in the beginning of this video. I had another video from another news source, but we're going to pull this up first.
Well, we begin with some breaking news. Just within the last hour, Iran revealing that its Natanz nuclear facility has been hit in an airstrike. That's the country's main uranium enrichment site, and Iranian officials say there is no radiation leakage. Right now, it's unclear whether it was the U.S. or Israel that carried out that mission.
Also overnight, Iran firing 2 ballistic missiles at strategic U.S.-UK military base on the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. It marks the regime's first threat to U.S. interests beyond the Middle East.
Meanwhile, President Trump offering the nation a hopeful update on Operation Epic Fury. Lucas Tomlinson joining us live from Dubai to kick things off with the very latest details. And Lucas, Diego Garcia.
That's right. Good morning, Griff. Diego Garcia, a long way from the stated ranges of Iran's missiles.
That's not at all. Hold on, guys.
Remember, it's just a few years ago, the late Ayatollah said they don't have any missiles that go this far. So officials say it's very clear he was lying, as well as other Iranian officials. Diego Garcia, 4,000 kilometers away. For Charlie, let's put this in miles, about 2,500 miles.
2,500 miles. 2,500 miles. That's a lot more than what they said that they could reach. But of course, they're not going to let us know that. Of course, they're not going to let the enemy know. Yeah, dag indeed, Nicole. Dag. Like, dag. Okay? This is bad. They're capable of doing a lot more than we know. You never know, though. Let me just say this for real. Okay? There is still a possibility that they have like 3 of these. You know what I'm saying? They may have like 3 of these kind of missiles. They may have 3. And that's it. They're like, we got our best ones and we're just going to use it once or twice and that's it. Just to show them what we're capable of. You never know. Or they might have a slew of these missiles. But this is not a good thing to hear, that they're able to go to that distance. It's not good, right? Not good. But let us continue. I'm trying to get this other video, so just give me a second here.
And previously, Iran said their missiles only go 2,000 kilometers or about 1,300 miles. So clearly this demonstrates that 3 weeks into this war, Iran still has some ability to launch some ballistic missiles, and apparently some ballistic missiles that nobody knew they had, perhaps the CIA and Mossad as well. But President Trump says he thinks this war is starting to wind down after more than 15,000 missions between the United States and Israeli air forces, striking over 8,000 targets across Iran. And now we have the venerable A-10 Warthog, that 50-year-old warhorse, running strafing missions along the coastline against those small boats associated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. A-10 with that 30-millimeter cannon that shoots depleted uranium shells, probably only the uranium the Trump administration wants to see in Iran after those strikes you mentioned on Natanz and the nuclear sites. And recall during Midnight Hammer, those nuclear sites were hit. Officials say this was always going to be part of the latter stages of the war. Those nuclear sites don't shoot back, of course. Had to take out the air defense systems, had to take out ballistic missiles, which the Pentagon insists are down 90%, although I should mention that Iran able to launch about 60 drones at Saudi Arabia earlier today, and overnight back in the United States, Kuwait, and here in the Emirates, air defense systems were active. And this is Eid. This is the Muslim world celebrating the end of the holy month of Ramadan. It's supposed to be a happy time. It's supposed to be a time of celebration. Iran clearly not pausing it, nor for their Nowruz New Year's, Persian New Year as well. Now, here are some of the nuclear facilities that are still left and need to be targeted. President Trump also taking a true social on his way to West Palm Beach, or to Palm Beach last night, leaving the White House. He thinks the war is coming down to a conclusion. He said he didn't want a ceasefire. He's calling Iran obliterated, and he's saying we're getting closer to achieving our objectives, completely degrading Iran's nuclear missile and launch capabilities, destroying Iran's defense industrial base. We heard that at the Pentagon from Secretary Hegseth, General Kane, limiting their Navy and Air Force. And there's also this issue with Carg Island. We have over 2,000 Marines from the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group now deploying from San Diego. Of course, take about a month to get there. The Pacific, pardon the sirens back there. There's Carg Island. This is a strategic choke point for the Iranians. They ship 96%.
Hold on. He said it's going to take the Marines how long to get there? Hold on.
San Diego, of course, take about a month to get there. The Pacific, pardon the siren. San Diego, 1,000 Marines from the, and there's also this issue with Carg Island. We have over 2,000 Marines from the Boxer Amphibious Ready Group now deploying from San Diego. Of course, take about a month to get there. The Pacific, pardon the sirens back there. There's Carg Island. This is a strategic choke point for the Iranians. They ship 96% of their.
Did you hear that? It will take about a month for those Marines to get out there? Why would it take a month for them to get there? Can anybody explain that to me? Because, I thought they would just get into a plane several hours later. They could be in, you know what I'm saying? Then they'll be in the Middle East. But why would it take a month for them to get there? So in other words, as much as they say, well, Trump's like, I'm considering, winding down the war. What are you talking about? If it's going to take a month for them to get over there, and if they're going by boat, then we're in this for the long haul. We're in there for a while. A month on boat. That's crazy. Now, boat, I get it. I get it. I just figured that they would fly in or something of that sort, right? They'd fly, land in some sort of base, and then get onto the ship from there, and then, sail a few days into wherever they need to get to, and then start fighting. But now they're saying it's going to take a doggone month for them to get over there. So before we even see any type of action from that particular deployed Marine troops, he's saying we're going to wind down. These guys are going to be over there like they're going to be mid-trip, okay, out to the Strait of Hormuz. 2 weeks in, right? They're like, get you some. Let's get, brother. And then all of a sudden, Trump's like, yeah, you guys can turn back around. The what? We've been sailing for 2 weeks, man. Ain't that crazy? That's crazy. A month to get over there, guys. A month. He's saying he's thinking about winding down. Okay. That doesn't sound like winding down to me. That sounds like more war coming. And if it's going to take them a month to get out there, that means that we're in this for a whole other month, at least. You see what I'm saying? So I just don't believe. Yeah, it's like having like they're just going to have a really nice cruise. Hopefully they have a really good hopefully they got some really good entertainment on board. I hope they have onboard entertainment that's out of this world. Somebody who can do the best Tina Turner or something. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to be sailing out there, just chilling. Crazy, right?
Oil from this little island, the northern Persian Gulf outside of Basra and Kuwait. And if the Iranians are going to hold the Strait of Hormuz hostage, perhaps President Trump wants to return the favor, take something that the Iranians want, perhaps another real estate deal coming up. As you can see here, CENTCOM continuing to get into it, laying it down and destroying a lot of these Iranian surface to air missile sites and ballistic missiles. And I'm told that's all the time I have, guys.
Yeah, that's crazy. So as much as he says, the war, I'm thinking about winding it down. We're done. We're done with it. We're done with it. We're done with it. We're going to move on to the next thing. Nah. This ain't done yet. This ain't done yet by a long shot, which is really, really sad. Troops going out there, and it's going to take them a month to get there. And they're telling us he's thinking about winding this down. Hold on. Where is that? Let's see that Truth Social post. One more again, just so we can see it for ourselves. Look at this. We're getting very close to meeting our objectives as we consider winding down our great military efforts in the Middle East with respect to the terrorist regime of Iran. So here's the thing. Why is he suddenly saying this now? Is he that fickle? And no, this isn't sitting there like, should I wear the blue tie or should I wear the red tie? Melania, red tie or blue tie? This is not that. This is people's lives. So what is this all about? Let's be real. We're getting close to meeting our objectives. I already said before in the beginning of this show, I said, what are our objectives? Because like I said, we lost the plot. Oh, here's the other thing too. If it means taking out the regime, then you did that, baby. Congratulations, you won. Regime is gone. The likes of all these higher ups, all these officials are gone. The only person that we do not know whether or not they're alive or dead is Netanyahu. I'm kidding, not Netanyahu. Is Mujtaba Khamenei. That's the only person that we don't know if he's alive or not. All we know is he's limping or he's walking around with a crutch if he's still alive because he ain't got no leg. He ain't got no leg, Lieutenant Dan. He ain't got no leg. So if he is really alive, then yes, the regime has not been completely obliterated. But that's the thing. where are we as far as the objectives? Oh, here's the other thing too. Didn't they say that there was a plan to maybe go out there and take the what was it? They have uranium or something like that, right? Copious amounts of uranium that they can make a bunch of nukes. Weren't we supposed to be going out there to nab them, to steal them from Iran? That mission has not been done yet, from what I've gathered, because I feel like if we did get the uranium like that, you don't think that Trump would be like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo. You know what I'm saying? We got it. We got your uranium. You see what I'm saying? Wouldn't he be out here saying that like over and over and over again? In fact, it wouldn't even be Trump. Well, he would do it in a Truth Social post. It'd be Pete Hegseth being like, we're the best. They effed around. They found out. We got their uranium. We went in there with such effortless precision, and we got that uranium, and now we got it back in the States. How you like them apples? They effed around and they found out. We're going to keep charging forward, though. That's what we're going to do. Because my boys don't eat yellow snow, and they always stay frosty. Wouldn't he say something like that by now? In a press conference? Chest out, okay? Head held high with all the happiness in his face. So they haven't gotten that stuff yet. They haven't gotten it yet. So what are our objectives? Just saying. This just don't make no sense to me, guys. It just don't. One second. Apparently, we got some updates. Let's take a look at this. This is from CNN, and they're saying this is inside Israel's war with Lebanon. Let's take a look at this.
This mother is carrying the body of her 6-year-old daughter, Yasmina. Israeli bombs pierce her grief. She's also burying her 3 other daughters, 9-year-old Malika, Zara, 12, and Zainab, 13, along with their cousin, 11-year-old Sadek. Just absolutely heartbreaking scenes. There's body after body after body. Tiny little bodies. These ones having to be carried on the bed because there's just only parts and remnants and pieces of them left. These are just 5 of over 110 children killed this month since war began anew in Lebanon on March 2nd. 9 graves they've had to dig in the last 24 hours for just so much pain in this one tiny little village. The site of the strike was the children's grandparents' house, where they were playing when the bomb hit. It came without warning and wiped out almost the entire family. You can see bits of blood across this rubble here. Pieces of books, some shoes. Mohammed is the father of the girls, who he's just buried. They were a tight-knit family. I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you're going through today and what went through your mind when that airstrike hit.
يعني صرت اركض انا قمت حافي على حجار وشو اسمه وانا مضروب هون والدمعه بينزل صرت فتش شيل اولادي وبي.
I mean, the Israelis say that Hezbollah is using children and using civilians as human shields. Do you think there's any truth to that?
في شهداء من الحزب. نحن عائله اهل الجنوب ما بيركعوا لا لاسرائيل ولا لامريكا اللي عم تدعمهم بالسلاح.
Across the country, the Israeli military is rapidly ramping up its bombing campaign and expanding its ground invasion. CNN obtained permission from Hezbollah to report in one of their strongholds, the southern city of Tyre. At a civil defense center, outgoing rocket fire breaks the temporary calm. Soon after, the Israeli military called to warn nearby residents to leave their homes immediately.
لا بدك تعطينا شوية وقت لحتى العالم تضبضب غراضها وتظهر منها.
Yo, I just want to say, like, and this is not only happening in Lebanon, okay? This is happening in other places as well. There was a kindergarten that was actually hit by Iranian missiles earlier today. From my understanding, a couple people were injured. Thank God there were no children at that actual kindergarten, but there was a kindergarten that was actually hit. Obviously, kids weren't there. But like I said, this is the harsh reality of what we're seeing in this war. The things that aren't being depicted is what we're seeing here. Kids losing their lives because of grown adults' wars that are going on around them. Okay, and this is happening in Lebanon. All right. So again, this is very sad, but this is the harsh reality of war. And what's frustrating is, like I said, just earlier, early this morning, I found out that there was a kindergarten that actually was hit by, like I said, Iranian missiles. Thank God no one lost their lives. There were no kids at that school, but that kindergarten was targeted. Was it for a specific reason? Was it in retaliation for what happened to the Iranian elementary school, the all-girls elementary school that took the lives of over 175 people, including a massive amount of little girls? Could that be it? I don't know. But one thing is for sure, they are targeting schools now, and people are losing their lives. Regular civilians that are just living their lives, just trying to get through life, just trying to make ends meet and raise their beautiful children, are now, they're all in the line of fire. Harsh reality, y'all.
But not everyone has somewhere to go. It is just apocalyptic around here. And to think that, I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, this was a buzzing, lively neighborhood with shops, and these were people's houses. And now it's just all been turned to rubble. It must be so eerie staying here. And yet you still do see people. You see people in their homes. How are you?
I'm drinking coffee.
I'm okay, thanks. What are you still doing here?
I stay here.
Why are you staying?
I go where? This is my house.
Are you the only person who stayed, or is there other families who stayed as well?
I know get family. I know marry. You want to marry me? Huh?
Whole families still remain, pitching up tents wherever they can, largely because they lack the means or strength to find a new home. Do you guys get scared? Yeah? What are you scared about? And what do you guys do when you hear these loud noises? Soon after we leave, Israel pounds this area. We asked the Israeli military what they're doing to protect children in this war. I went to the area of Sidon, where there was a strike. 9 people were killed. 5 of them were children. One of them was just a 6-year-old girl. Why?
We have a terror organization that their strategy is to put our civilians in the line of fire and their civilians in the line of fire. We're doing everything we can to avoid that.
Right, but children are not terrorists.
They are not terrorists. And to say that we are targeting them or that's something that we are happy about is just not true, unacceptable, and even kind of disgusting. Hezbollah is almost an identical twin of Hamas in the way they operate.
Does that mean that Lebanon will soon look like Gaza?
I sure hope not.
But surely it's up to Israel for it not to.
We've seen it with Gaza and the conversation that there's a heavy price of war. It doesn't mean that one side or the stronger side is conducting it in the wrong way.
These words will be little comfort to the hundreds of thousands of families forced to leave their homes, their lives suddenly upended. These kids obviously have been out of school for the last 2 weeks since the beginning of the war. And this group now is trying to do some activities with them, try to have some semblance of normalcy.
فلما تسحر نحن عم نتسحر وبلش يضرب فنحن كنت أنا خايفة I'm scared. حس إنه نحن خايفين ومرعوبين ومشردين.
What are you scared could happen?
خايفة إنه حدا يموت لنا أو يستشهد لنا.
لبنان كان ازدهار انتهى لبنان كله كليا يعني ما في لبنان صار وإن شاء الله ما بيصير مثل غزة يعني فينا.
What would you say to the people who have power over this war right now?
يعني شو بدكم فيهم؟ الأولاد ما عم تقدر تكفي علمها ولا عم تقدر تعمل شيء، خربتوا لنا حياتنا.
It's a pain no child should know. A generation who should have their entire lives ahead of them. Now pulled into a war they never chose.
Yeah, guys, the harsh realities of war. The harsh realities of mother-loving war. And I mean, obviously it's a constant reminder of that is a constant reminder of how precious life is and how precious and how lucky a lot of us do have it. I hate to say it like that, but how lucky a lot of us do have it. A lot of us are not sheltering in place. A lot of us are not going through crazy anxiety, hoping that a missile doesn't hit our homes or our buildings that we're staying in, so on and so forth, right? I hate to say it like that, but that is true, right? This is something that no child should ever have to go through, ever. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know that. But it does hurt when you see the kids actually reacting and saying things like, I don't want to die. I don't want to lose my life. Right? It's scary. This is scary stuff. But I wanted to talk to you guys about, this is from the very beginning. It's like we see this guy, we're going to be seeing this guy a lot, I guess, in this video. You'll see a familiar face in this video, but they're talking about the actual missiles. This is the one I was looking for. I couldn't find it, but I'm glad we were able to see that video from CNN, because that is, like I said, a harsh reality of what's really going on out here in these streets. But let's take a look at this.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome in here on Live Now from Fox. The time is 7:57 on the East Coast and 4:57 on the West Coast. My name is Josh Breslow, and I'll be with you for the next several hours here on this Saturday morning as we get to all of the latest on your top stories and live events. Right now, you can see there on the right-hand side of your screen a live look over Tel Aviv, Israel, as we know that sirens have been sounding once again with attacks, including a missile that struck a kindergarten a bit earlier on today in the central part of Israel. We'll have much more on that coming up in just...
Kindergarten hit by Iranian missiles. There it is, right out the gate. From what I've understand and from what I've gathered, 2 people were injured in this particular bombing, but no children were hurt. No children, because no kids were at the school. Right now, that could have been a very precise decision made by Iran, just to basically say, like, you see how easily we can hit and take out your kids. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Well, one thing is for sure, a kindergarten was hit by Iranian missiles. Just so you know. As much as Trump and the administration is saying, CENTCOM is basically saying, we've downed this, we've downed that, is nothing to worry about. We are winning this war. I beg to differ. We just heard from Bella, the Bella Stella. She's literally hunkering down, and I'm sure praying and scared out of her mind as there are missile strike alerts going off in her area. Okay, you got kids' schools getting bombed in Israel. It's not over. As much as they say that they've taken out sea, they've basically taken out sea, and they say that they've taken out their air. Right? They've taken out fighter pilots and fighter jets. I'm sorry, and warships, but they haven't talked about what's going on that land, y'all. We have yet to do anything about that land. And I'm not sitting here saying that we need to be boots on the ground. I'd rather us leave and be done, right? Get oil back down to under $100. Like, don't make the world economy go belly up, right? But this is what's going on. This is what's going on.
Just a bit, but I do want to get you to some breaking news that we are following out of all of this here, and that includes a situation at Diego Garcia, where Iran claims to have fired 2 ballistic missiles at the U.S.-UK military base there, Diego Garcia, saying that it shows, quote, the range of Iran's missiles is beyond what the enemy had previously imagined. Now, the Wall Street Journal reports that one of the missiles failed, and a U.S. warship fired at the other, with a total of 0 missiles actually striking that base. Now, if you're not too familiar, Diego Garcia is about 2,500 miles from Iran, which is double the range that Iran's foreign minister claimed that its ballistic missiles had just last month. Again, important to note, the missiles did not actually hit the base. Right there on your screen, you're looking at a post from Fox and Friends and from our buddy Lucas Tomlinson.
There's face again.
Breaking. Iran reportedly fired 2 missiles toward Diego Garcia, a joint U.S.-UK base in the Indian Ocean. The strike marks the Islamic Republic's first attempt to threaten U.S. interests beyond the Middle East. We are getting reaction coming in from all over. We actually heard from...
Let me skip ahead.
A couple of things, Josh. This shows that Iran is really taking the fight to the enemy, and that's to us. This is the first time we've used Diego Garcia for the last 20 to 30 years. Anytime we would conduct significant bombing operations in the Middle East, it shortens the range for our bombers. They don't have to fly from the United States, and it gives us the opportunity to rapidly turn our combat operations. I believe this is the first time I can find in history that Diego Garcia has been targeted. So that tells us that Iran is pushing out. I'm not surprised by the range of the Iranian missiles. You know, we've known for some time that they've had missiles that can range into southern Europe, and they have been, as we discussed last week, working on an intercontinental ballistic missile. So it's within the ranges, but the fact that they're doing it shows that Iran is pushing this fight further out. We had just reached an agreement to put the bombers on the Diego Garcia. We've been flying them from England. But if they had been lucky enough to hit the airbase, they could have gone after, say, our B-2s, B-1s, or B-52s, whatever we're going to station there. So a significant increase here, and definitely showing Iran still has fight left in it.
And of course, right here, we are getting reaction coming in from all over. This is the Associated Press, because Britain is now condemning the, quote, reckless attacks after Iran fired the missiles at the UK-US Diego Garcia Air Base there in the Indian Ocean. Not quite clear if we're going to hear from British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. We know he's been making remarks on weekends as well. So if we get any of those, we will make sure to bring those to you. Now, something else that I mentioned kind of leading into this is that we've learned that a kindergarten over in central Israel was hit by a missile a bit earlier on today. Not quite clear if that is a missile that was fired by Hezbollah, which is backed, of course, by Iran out of Lebanon, but also the possibility that it was fired by Iran. I want to play for you a soundbite that just came in from the Israel Defense Forces about that before we get into the conversation.
We are here in Saturday morning. It's the weekend in Israel. Most of the people are in their homes, but you can see here the penetration of a bomb, a cluster bomb, into this kindergarten. Fortunately, there weren't any kids in this garden, but just imagine what would have happened if kids were here playing, staying during their daily routine. Once again, we see that our enemies aim their targets to civilian population. They try to kill and to impact as much as they can.
I just want to point this out. We didn't see any video from Iran talking about the school getting bombed, their school getting bombed. Did we not see that? I didn't see it. Remember, we still haven't heard anything. That's the other thing, too. Remember the 175 individuals, including a majority all girls at that elementary school that lost their lives? Remember that ish? Remember that situation? We're still trying to find out if America actually launched the missile or not, and they did. They did. But have you noticed that we haven't even talked about that? Have you noticed that we haven't even talked about that anymore? Trump says it was Iran that actually shot the missiles, right? Pete Hegseth says we're investigating that. Yeah, we still have not heard anything about it. But we're talking about this one, though. We talking about this. Oh, and they got video. They got cameras in there and everything. Only difference is no one got hurt in this one. No one got hurt in this one. 175 people lost their lives in that first wave of strikes that happened in Iran. Why aren't we talking about that too? I'm sorry, but that's something that needs to be talked about. Those are kids. I don't care what side of the fence they're on. I don't care if they're part of the enemy. They're children. They're children. They're little girls. Why we're broadcasting this right now? We're talking about this, but we ain't talking about that. Ain't that about to shut your mouth? Huh? Prototype just said because it's propaganda. I guess it is. No one lost their lives in this one. Thank God no one got hurt on this one. But isn't it interesting that that's here? That we're seeing this video. We got a guy reporting it. Look at how terrible these Iranians are. They struck our school, but we're not hearing anything about what happened in Iran. 175 people, majority little girls, lost their lives. We ain't talking about. Man, come on now. I'm just saying. Propaganda. Let us continue.
All right, so again, a quick soundbite right there from the IDF as they were on the scene there of that kindergarten struck. And I guess, Mark, that brings up kind of the point once again that we've heard time and time again, that Iran and these terror proxies are not just targeting military sites, because you have to imagine that there was not a military site for Israel in that kindergarten building. So they are targeting civilians rather than military sites.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. And I think you brought up an excellent point. You know, determining where this missile came from, whether it came from Hezbollah or came from Iran itself, shows that they are escalating this. You know, Iran is kind of, I'll say, taking the gloves off. They have gone after a lot of civilian targets, especially in Israel, and along with their partner Hezbollah. You know, Hezbollah has launched several hundred missiles and rockets since the beginning of this combat operation. So you can see that. And Iran this week, you know, escalated in the fact that they went after some refineries in Israel. And now they've gone after, this is not the first time they've gone after civilian targets, and they're going to continue to do so. What they've changed, now remember that Israel has an excellent air defense, anti-ballistic, anti-drone capability, but it's not infallible. So when we look at that, Iran has gone to using cluster munitions. And that's what the IDF spokesman was talking about there. What happens here is these actually open up, if you will, in flight over their target area and makes it almost impossible to take out all the different submunitions that come out of a warhead. So now we have to worry about how that's doing. And there's been several Israeli deaths throughout this week based on these cluster munitions. They're more effective and they're really indiscriminate. Iran is just indiscriminately targeting and trying to inflict as much pain on Israel as possible at this time. It's more of a threat to Israel when they're using these cluster munitions, and that's their primary target. Take out as many civilians, make it painful for the Israeli population, and try to turn this fight into Iran's favor, or at least get the sentiment going for Iran out here.
No, some people still think that Iran is winning out here, and that that we're suffering throughout this entire thing. I mean, what say you guys? What say you? Let me know. Now I'm going to end this poll. I put up a poll because I wanted to see if you guys wanted to see Justin Timberlake's DUI video, and I feel the same sentiment. Okay, it's being plastered all over the internet right now, but I'm going to end the poll. A great majority of you guys said no, that you didn't want to see it. So there it is. Okay, so no to the Justin Timberlake video, but yes, very, very interesting that the Justin Timberlake video has come out. I know a lot of people a lot of people have already seen it. A lot of people are continuing to see it. But it is okay. I just need to talk about that really quick. Can we just talk about it for a hot minute? I'm not playing the video, but we need to talk about it. Just a little palate cleanser for a second. Okay. First off, don't operate heavy machinery while under the influence. Let's just say that really quick. All right. Don't. All right. But one thing is for sure, in this video, he is drunk. This man is really drunk. Okay? Really drunk. So much that he's trying to talk, and you can tell how drunk he is. You see what I'm saying? It's bad. It's really bad. It's really sad. Okay? It's really bad, and it's really, really sad. This man is very drunk. I didn't see the whole thing. I kind of comb through it, you know what I mean? And just went to certain parts, right? And there was one particular moment where they're asking him to do the walk, put one foot in front of the other, keep your hands to your sides, and just walk one foot in front of the other. And he's just like, okay, guys, you guys are really asking me to, I just want to understand what's going on. And it's like, homie, they're doing a sobriety check on you because you were very drunk. When they pull up to the car, they walk up to his car, on the driver's side window, and he's talking to him. You can even hear it in his voice. He is drunk, okay? Very, very drunk. Then they bring him into when they're processing him, and he's inside the precinct, and he's handcuffed to the damn, desk that he's sitting there at. He's still going, I just want to understand what actually happened here. I just want to know what I did. Can you just tell me what I did? Hold on. Can you start that all over again? It's like, yo, you are very, very drunk. That's it. Okay? That's it. Dude is drunk as hell. Drunk as a skunk. Okay? I don't recommend that. that is not good. Just so you know. But yeah. And then I know that there's other stuff that's going on in the internet. I've been seeing it. It's absolutely crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Somebody said free Justin. Come on. No freeing Justin. He did that. He pulled himself into that situation. He drove himself, okay, into that situation. All right. Just saying. All right. Definitely, he was definitely drunk. Definitely under the influence for sure. There's no question about it. And I know he was trying really bad He was trying really hard to stop that that video from coming out. And I get it, because it's not a good look. It's not great. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't even know whatever came of it. Was he found guilty of it? Did he work did he work something out where he can, do community service or something crazy like that? I don't even know what ended up happening to him after he got caught. Right. So I'm curious about that too, but I'm sure it's an embarrassing video that now the whole world is seeing, so we'll see what happens with that. But he really did not want that out, and I don't blame him. I can see why. It's very embarrassing. So we have got to get into this conversation about what's going on at these airports. If you didn't know, airports are very much a stressful thing to begin with. I mean, traveling can be very, very stressful. I know some people love to travel. They just love it. They're just like trendsetters, you know what I mean? Jet setters. And they're just flying all over the place and having the grand old time, flying on, super cheap tickets and all that, getting to go from place to place and seeing all kinds of corners of the world that a lot of us wish we could see as well. But one thing that we have to go through is TSA, is those damn security checkpoints. Well, things are a little bit different now. There's been a lot of BS that's been going on with TSA as of late. Let's not forget, all right, there's been a lot of issues with government shutdown stuff. Remember several months ago, there was a full government shutdown, and it was a shutdown that affected all of us. It affected SNAP benefits all the way down to airports and government employees, right? TSA agents weren't getting paid. They were starting to squeeze them off, all because of what the Republicans and Democrats were having issues over as far as bill signings and et cetera within the House. Now we're in that same situation again, but it's different now. It's a little bit different. It's a partial shutdown. It's a partial shutdown within the DHS because of DHS, because of the Department of Homeland Security's need and want to bring more money to ICE. Now, as of late, if you didn't know anything about what's going on with ICE, it's been bad. I know some of y'all are like, America, FAFO. Some of y'all stand behind that ICE BS. But here's the thing. People have lost their lives, and it's not been good. There has been some serious, serious moments over the past several months where ICE seems like there's no control over them. And the likes of Kristi Noem, who's also a damn crook, she's the one leading all this stuff, or was, soon to be no more. But this particular crook, this particular liar, crook, thief, as some would say, was very much adamant about bringing more money to the ICE immigration program so that she can build a bigger army of ICE agents. Now, we've learned a lot about these ICE agents over the past several months. We've learned that they're not even passing their written exams, that they're just hiring basically anybody and anybody that wants to get the job. They're getting signing bonuses of copious amounts of money just so that they can do the job. And then also not only getting a signing bonus, like they're signing on to an NFL team right now, they're also getting six figures, close to six figures, for going out here and doing the job that a lot of people are sneering at. Well, this is all important that I'm saying this, because right now, there's been a temporary shutdown because Democrats don't believe that this department should be getting any more funding for the likes of ICE. Let's not forget this too. Kristi Noem was exposed for basically embezzling $220 million for what? For campaign videos? And you know for a fact she didn't use all $220 million for a campaign video. In fact, there's also other allegations of her putting money, billions of dollars, by the way, into other departments that they never even seen. Allegedly, money being taken out of certain things that she's been pulling, fundings that she's been grabbing to help fund and pay for her new side D. Yeah. Her boo thing. No, I'm not talking about her husband. We talking about that other dude that works with her. Her side D. Paying bills for him too. Under her command and leadership. So why would the anti-Democrat lawmaker say, yeah, let's sign over billions of dollars over to this department because they need more ICE agents? No. Democrats are not going to be okay with that because they're smarter than that. And also Republicans should be smarter than that too if they saw the congressional hearing that they had with Kristi Noem. This is a very, very bad woman who lied, stole from the American people, taxpayer dollars stolen. And yet now they are shutting down. They have a partial shutdown because they don't agree with that funding being sent over to fund ICE even more. Do you blame them? I'm going to tell you this. I don't blame that. After that hearing, even I myself, I would expect any person to sit there and go, whoa, wait a second. No, we're not cool with this. Nah, we ain't cool with this. Come on, guys. I know. Some of us stand on one side of the political aisle and we are just willing to die on that hill no matter what. And we'll sit there and point blame at Democrats and say, damn lefties, those damn lefties, it's all their fault. Well, look at who is leading DHS. In fact, look who's about to lead DHS. He ain't any better as well. He ain't any better. If you look at the situation without some sort of bias, political bias, you can see for yourself that there needs to be some serious changes within the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, there's plenty of other things that we need to talk about within the administration itself. But think about that for a second. She was stealing millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's be real. No person, Democrat or Republican, should sign off on that type of funding at all. When you know for a fact that money's not going to reach, not all that money's going to reach ICE. So here's the thing. Because of this partial shutdown, TSA is now shut down too, or is shutting down. TSA agents are literally quitting on the job. Literally on the job. They are walking out. There's a mass exodus going on right now as we speak on these particular TSA agents because they can't handle the wave of people that are coming in. Less and less TSA agents are showing up, and it's making these security checkpoints at airports longer and longer and longer. I've even heard one person even say that it took them 4 hours to get through this doggone thing. At some of the most busiest of airports, it took them several hours to just get through TSA just so they can get on their plane. And imagine what they have to do when they hop back on that plane to go back home. This is a big problem, guys. And it's all due to this partial shutdown that's going on. Now Trump has been coming out with a new threat. Remember how I talked about ICE? He now is saying he's going to be bringing in ICE to do the TSA jobs. And he even said he is going to make sure that those ICE agents start arresting undocumented individuals at the airports whilst they're doing TSA agent jobs. Absolutely insane. Yeah, I would say I agree with that, Jane. Yeah, I don't think this is a time to travel. Like, not never, not at all right now. Tickets are out of control. Tickets are only going to get higher. Like I said, we're going to talk about what United Airlines just came out with, some info. This is going to be a crazy time. If a barrel of oil keeps skyrocketing, which it will, if we continue this war, the way that we have been handling this war, the way that it has been going down, we are in a world of trouble. And you never know. These TSA lines might get a lot shorter solely because the tickets for airlines is going to be way too expensive for a lot of people. So get ready for it. It's going to get worse. Well, let's take a look at this.
Here.
Oh, whoops. Wrong one. Hold on. Let's take a look at this.
This morning, it is day 36 of a partial government shutdown as TSA workers scramble to meet the travel demand despite their last paycheck arriving nearly 1 month ago.
I hope we pay these people. They deserve to be paid. It's ridiculous what we're going through.
I also want to say this. I also feel like there should be a fail-safe situation for these TSA agents or any government official that's still on the payroll or gets hurt during this time. You see what I'm saying? There should be a fail-safe situation that if the government shuts down or does a partial shutdown, it doesn't hurt the people that are working so hard to bring food to the table. You understand that, right? This is insane that you got family members that are TSA workers, TSA agents that are leaving their job just so that they can go and work DoorDash, just so that they can go deliver pizzas for the time being, because they haven't seen a paycheck in the last month. And what's even more insane to me is, remember the last time there was a shutdown and TSA agents were like, I'm out, I can't do this, I got to go work somewhere else. The people that stuck around got bonuses. All of them should have gotten bonuses. They all went through hell. The people who left the jobs should have been taken care of. It's not their fault that the government shuts down on their asses. It's the people inside the house and inside on the hill that can't come to an agreement, dagnabbit. This is wrong. These TSA agents should be taken care of, period. This is very important. Do you realize how dangerous this potentially could be? Remember 9/11, mother lovers? Didn't you realize that after 9/11, didn't we ramp up security even more to the point where you got to damn near walk through a scanner buck ass naked just so you can get on a doggone plane? And you mean to tell me that they're not as important? These are essential workers here. And these people are walking out because they can't do this anymore. They can't just hold off, tighten their belt a little bit more, just so that, the government will figure it out. They're not figuring it out, baby. Several months ago, they did this too. Back in November, October, November, remember? Sad, y'all. This is sad.
Airports nationwide are seeing a surge in spring break travel and massive lines like this one in Houston, where the estimated wait time topped 3 hours on Friday.
We were kind of shocked because we literally had to go down all the way down some escalators and come right back up.
A similar situation in Atlanta and at New York's LaGuardia Airport, where the security line snaked outside into the parking lot.
Yikes.
The call-out rates among TSA workers more than doubling since the beginning of the shutdown, with the financial strain growing.
It was a choice between putting gas in my car and paying my light bill. But for some people, there are choices between feeding their children and putting gas in the car.
A vote to end the shutdown failed for a 5th time in the Senate Friday.
The motion is not agreed to.
Democrats are still demanding reforms to immigration enforcement, including requiring agents to take off masks and wear body cameras. Travelers we spoke with here in Dallas are trying to be patient.
Knowing that you're doing your best and not even getting paid to still have a smile on your face, like that can only go on for so long.
And as we get through the morning rush here at DFW Airport, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warns TSA lines will get significantly worse if officers miss another paycheck next week, calling everything we're seeing right now, quote, child's play compared to what's ahead.
Yeah, this is not getting any better, guys. Clearly, this issue is not getting any better, and it's going to continue to get crazier if they don't see a paycheck next week. Here's the thing. They're asking for ICE agents' faces to be exposed and, of course, body cameras. Now, here's the thing. If these ICE agents aren't able to walk around with at least a badge number or even their last name on a badge, right? Then I don't blame them. I don't blame that demand for them to be unmasked. I don't blame them for the demand of having body cameras on every single ICE agent. If we're going to have situations where they're lying to us about what happened to the likes of someone like Alex Preddy, then yes, there should be some sort of accountability and some way to follow the truth from these ICE agents. Because at this point right now, they can say whatever the hell they want. They can say whatever the hell they want. And we just are supposed to believe them. If we didn't have other protesters out there in the streets of Minneapolis the day that Alex Preddy lost his life, we would have just believed that Alex Preddy pulled out a weapon. He brandished a weapon, and that's why he lost his life. Real talk. It would be he said, she said. But because people were filming the entire time, we were able to see exactly what he was holding in his hands. And what did he have in his hand? A phone. But they still continue to lie to us. Christy Noam even lied to us. Live in 4K. So again, damn right, there should be something of some sort out here.
Spring break.
There should be something out here for us to protect the ones that are out here too. And even the illegal individuals that they're trying to detain, they need to be taken care of. They need to be protected as well. Let's be real. They need to be protected as well. There should not be an argument about that. Why shut it down? Why is there a shutdown? Why is there pushback on something that I feel that every person should have? If you can't put a badge number or a badge on that guy with his name on it, just in case, right? That there's some sort of accountability on that guy. He's just some lone cowboy out here just shooting from the hip. That's dangerous. And we've already seen the dangers, how bad it can get and how detrimental and deadly it can get for these guys who can do whatever the hell they want out here in these streets. I'm sorry. You can go take all the bad illegals all you want, okay? But I want to make sure exactly who the person is. These faceless, nameless guys that are running around, that's causing trouble. That's it. If you're not going to give them a badge, show their face and give them a body cam. I don't see any problem with that. People have already lost their lives due to this crap. Okay? People have lost their lives due to this crap. This needs to stop. Real talk.
This just in, President Trump posting on Truth Social, threatening to send ICE agents to U.S. airports if Democrats don't fund DHS. Marcus Espinoza, live from Newark Airport, who is watching it, all those long lines going off and on all day. How are things looking right now? Are people hearing about ICE agents possibly showing up at airports, Marcus?
Hey, Laura, yeah, we're hearing some murmurs there, but let's play this out. Let's visualize this, okay? Because behind me, we have a pretty decent line here at Terminal A. This is kind of ebbing and flowing throughout the day at Newark Liberty International Airport. Now picture ICE agents there, them doing security as the president claimed in that Truth Social post. Let's go ahead and bring that up as well there. Just a remarkable statement to make by the president here. Just a salvo from his side, almost calling the bluff of Democrats when he put this out, saying if the radical left Democrats don't immediately sign an agreement to let our country, in particular our airports, be free and safe again, I will move our brilliant and patriotic ICE agents to the airports where they will do security like no one has ever seen before. A remarkable statement and remarkable update on the battle right now to fund DHS and get these TSA workers paid. So we had that developing moments ago. And then earlier this morning, Elon Musk chimed in on the matter. He posted to X that he wants to pay the salaries of TSA workers that have been without pay for over a month due to the partial government shutdown. It's still unclear if he's even allowed to do this or how it might work, but Musk has presented a solution to a problem that is set to likely only get worse. Here's what folks had to think about.
Hold on, let me show you what he said. I would like to offer to pay the salaries of TSA personnel during this funding impasse that is negatively affecting the lives of so many Americans at airports throughout the country. Very interesting that he's willing to pull up and throw some money at TSA agents and fund TSA agents during this time. I mean, if it's legal, let's do it then. If it's legal, because these guys, I mean, at some point, things are going to get shut down very, very soon. All of it. People are not going to be able to fly. It's already getting expensive to fly. It's getting more and more expensive because of what's going on across, overseas right now. And we're going to talk about that very shortly here, but that's insane, right?
Government shutdown. It's still unclear if he's even allowed to do this or how it might work, but Musk has presented a solution to a problem that is set to likely only get worse. Here's what folks had to think about it.
I think that's ridiculous, and it's not going to happen.
I think
it's a lot of talk, which is pretty much his MO.
Good sentiment, but
not really helpful in the long run.
you don't think it's realistic?
No, very unrealistic.
But here's the issue that we're dealing with. An average of almost 10% of TSA workers are calling out in airports nationwide because they're missing their paycheck. In airports like Houston and ATL, that number is even higher, with a third of the workers calling out. Those call outs happening because of this shutdown. They're not getting paid. It's been happening for more than a month now. Staffing issues, that's leading to longer lines and more strain at our nation's airport during this spring break rush. We talked to some passengers this morning coming through Newark to see their thoughts and reactions on the problems it's creating.
I think what they're going through is terrible. I think it's ridiculous that they haven't got paid, and the people in Congress just need to do something to get this right.
And I don't know if they're ever going to be able to find, that's the problem. How are they going to be able to find a happy medium? Maybe it's like you can keep the mask on, but then keep but they all got to have body cameras on or something of that sort, right? I mean, there's got to be a happy medium of some sort, but they're not meeting to it. 5 different times they couldn't come to an agreement. 5 different times, y'all.
So Laura, let's recap this, right? We have frenemy of President Donald J. Trump chiming in early this morning, offering to pay the salaries of TSA personnel. And then we have the president himself posting on Truth Social that he's going to put TSA agents at security here. What a sight that would be. And then you got to think about the counter protesters that would no doubt show up.
That would
they wouldn't
be
be
bad.
allowed inside terminals, but they would certainly be outside. It would create, I think chaos would be a strong word, but we saw what happened in Minnesota.
Sure.
And so I just...
Let me just say this. This would be catastrophic. Yeah, he literally said a frenemy of Trump said, hey, I'll do it. I'll pay them. Because you realize that ICE coming in and manning all of the security checkpoints here, and there are people who are trying to fly, travel, so on and so forth. Maybe some are illegals. We don't know, right? Some are maybe undocumented. We don't know, but they're just trying to fly. Do you realize how catastrophic that could be? Do you realize how dangerous it could potentially be in these airports? Then, not to mention what he just said a second ago, which is a very good point. You don't think anti-ICE protesters wouldn't be right outside the doors of these airports? So it would just be even more chaotic in these streets or in these airport streets, right? This would not be good. This would not be good. But wait for it. If it actually happens, oh my good God. This is a recipe for absolute catastrophic disaster.
I can't stress how remarkable that was to read and to find out this morning. And we'll see if it's actually anything close to reality, if the president can even do that. But I just think it was just remarkable to see that.
I mean, if he says he's going to do it, he will do it. Have we not seen him bend the rules? Have we not seen him start wars without Congress giving him the thumbs up? Have we not seen all of that stuff in real time? It's not going to stop him. He's going to put that out there. And I'm telling you right now, TSA is already in bad shape. It's already in bad shape. So you know for a fact he's probably already deploying freaking ICE agents as we speak. Top of this coming week, we're going to have all kinds of new faces at the TSA. And every single person will be harassed now. Crazy. How am I spreading misinformation if this is coming from the news, baby? The hell? But okay. But you see what I'm saying? This is some wild stuff, y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah, a stunning post for sure. Marcus Espinoza at Newark. Thanks again for joining us.
Again, absolutely insane. If that actually happens, it could, I'm just saying, it could be detrimental. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is apparently a TSA leader talks about the shutdown. Let's take a look at this.
But first today,
Whoops.
it's a Fox News alert. Chaos erupting at America's airports as the nation enters day 36 of the partial government shutdown. Apocalyptic lines across the country as the acting TSA deputy administrator warns that smaller airports could quite literally shut down if Congress does not pay TSA workers. Now, while you will be subject to these onerous security lines, guess who will not? Congress. Members of Congress receive expedited and private security. That must be nice. And Senator John Cornyn is looking to put a stop to that with the End Special Treatment for Congress at Airports Act, which would require members of Congress to go through the same screening as you do. Now, that bill passed the Senate. It moves on to the House. And we ask, will Congress vote to subject themselves to the same rules that you follow? Meanwhile, roughly 50,000 TSA employees are working without pay. Listen to one TSA worker at Reagan National Airport.
We're not Republicans. We're not Democrats. We're not independents. We're just people that come to work every day to do our job. And all we expect you guys to do is do your job. Pay us for what we do.
This is like I said, this is a massive problem. Okay. Massive problem, because this is the second time in a row. Okay. Second time in a very short amount of months. We are in March. The last time was just in October, November time. Remember, there was also other people. We were also dealing with SNAP benefits being taken away and all that as well. Remember all that crap that we went through, that we were all witnessing in real time? This is the second time that they're going through this crap again, too. They don't deserve this. They don't. And yet, here we are again with them.
Saturday in America sees you, and we will not forget the pain inflicted upon our TSA workers during the last government shutdown.
Our TSA workers are going without pay. As you mentioned, we have talked to many officers who they're sleeping in their cars. They have just tens of dollars left in their bank account. It really is becoming a huge issue, and they're having to face the question, do they put gas in their car to get to work to serve the American people, or do they stay back at home so that they can pay for groceries for their family?
Now, despite the pain inflicted on travelers and TSA workers alike, Democrats voted for a fifth time to keep DHS defunded. And the liberal media is even noticing now. Look at this ABC headline. Democrats have once again blocked a funding bill for the Department of Homeland Security as they continue to insist on reforms to ICE and CBP. And just this morning, Elon Musk said he is looking to do what Democrats will not. I would like to offer to pay the salaries of TSA personnel during this funding impasse. Now let's go right now to Madison Scarpino at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, where the early morning rush is just beginning. Madison.
It's nuts.
Good morning, Kaylee. Yeah, once you get past the check-in counter at this airport, all you can see is a sea of people waiting in these long TSA lines. There are massive crowds of people filling up these hallways. I have never seen anything like this here, as Hartsfield-Jackson has consistently been hit with these long lines almost every single day over the last week or so. So I'm going to have my photographer give our viewers a look at exactly what's going on here right now. People tell us they got here 3-4 hours before their flights. And it's all because TSA workers are not getting any money still. And many are reporting and not being able to pay for basics like gas, rent, and food. Nearly 400 of them nationwide have quit since the start of this shutdown. Over the last few days here in Atlanta alone, almost 40% of them are calling out each day. And this is leading to a lot of frustrated, confused, and tired travelers. Listen.
I feel bad, honestly, for just the TSA workers who are here. So we're just grateful that, you know, we came early because we were prepared, but unfortunately, flight boards in like 30 minutes. So even though we got here early, hopefully we make it.
We're seeing these long TSA lines pop up at other major airports.
Well, it looks like we lost Madison there. We will follow up with Madison when we get her back. But we are learning that hundreds of TSA employees have resigned since the shutdown began, and they stopped getting paid. Now, my next guest is one of those TSA workers. Here she is, Utah Regional Vice President Tanja Michelle Fowler. Tanja, look, I'm thinking about you guys, and I'm sure you are as furious as so many others that our lawmakers cannot get their act together, cannot get you paid. Tell me about the choice you had to make.
Well, this is the third shutdown that I've been a part of. And you know, at the end of the day, you have to make that choice. If you're going to do a job, you want to get paid. It's a job that I loved. I worked very hard at. We're protecting the American public that are traveling. And that's an important job. As you can see, my family, they come from a long background of serving our country. This was my way to serve the country. But again, at the end of the day, if you're not getting paid for the job that you're doing, and again, being so close to the very last 45-day shutdown that we weren't paid, sometimes you just have to make those difficult choices.
Are calling out each day, and this is leading to a lot of frustrated, confused, and tired
I was just in the
travelers.
airport yesterday, 2 days ago, I should say. The lines weren't extraordinarily bad, but we have seen them 2-3 hours at some places. If there's a second paycheck that is missed by TSA workers, how bad do those lines get?
They're going to get worse. People are making decisions. Do they pay their child care? Yeah. Landlords and car companies and electric companies are not saying, hey, we'll give you guys a break. They need their money just as much as we need our money that we supposedly earn. We're going into week 5. Week 5, they are already owed 3 weeks of pay. And now we're going into week 5 where they're potentially going to miss out on a whole nother paycheck. And that's ridiculous. This is not the American dream that people sign up for when they go to work. They expect to at least get a paycheck. And I think that's fair. We're asking the American public to donate canned goods and items to airports just for the TSA agents to be able to use. And that takes a piece of your heart and your pride out as well.
And here's something that I think the American public needs to know about this. You know, people say, well, you know, you save and you prepare for a moment like this. But if you saved and you prepared, you spent that money during the last government shutdown, which was just about 3 or 4 months ago. So are you hearing from your colleagues, look, we used our savings to pay when you guys weren't paying us during the last shutdown, and now we are just empty?
Absolutely. The last paycheck that people got was a partial paycheck, and that paycheck, all of their money from money that they borrowed against their retirement came out of that check. So people brought home maybe $10, $20, $30, and they're at their wits' end. They're frustrated. If they're made to go to work and to do their jobs and to show up, why are the people in Washington not doing their job?
Yeah, it's a great question. Someone who is saying, look, I'm going to step in and fill the void. Elon Musk announcing this morning that he wants to pay TSA workers. What do you think as a former TSA worker when you hear Elon Musk say, I want you to get paid?
That's amazing. And thank you for stepping up and saying that. But here we are. We have a private person that is willing to step up and pay people who are not receiving their pay. And they're protecting our country. They're protecting us from a potential another 9/11. No one wants that to happen.
It's breaking news.
You know, our shores are being protected by our Coast Guard that are not getting paid. Hackers. If we're watching all of this going on in America, our adversaries are watching the same thing, and that is scary and sad.
Yeah, Tanja.
Here's the thing. The other thing too is that if there happens to be another situation where another shutdown happens, what we're gonna have to rely on Elon. Come on, we're gonna have to rely on the likes of other billionaires to jump in and solve this issue. I think it's ridiculous. I think that's ridiculous. Sure, it's a nice gesture, but it doesn't solve anything. You see what I'm saying? It's putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound, to be really honest, if you ask me. So again, that's very interesting. Now we do have some breaking news. I'm gonna tap into this really, really quick. So the former special counsel, if I'm correct, former special counsel Robert Mueller has passed away due to complications from Parkinson's disease. And so we got to take a look at this. This just broke just a little bit ago. Let's take a look.
Just into our newsroom, MS Now has now learned former special counsel Robert Mueller has died. MS Now investigative reporter Carol Lenig has the details. She is now on the phone with us. Carol, what can you tell us?
Robert Mueller, who was suffering from Parkinson's disease in the last year or two, and the former FBI director and, iconic representative of the FBI, also the former special counsel into Russian interference into the 2016 presidential election, has died. That's about all we know at the moment. We knew that he was ill and had been ill for a while, living in a senior living center outside Charlottesville, Virginia. And so this is not entirely unexpected, but it's very sad for the FBI family that looked up to him and really revered his service to the U.S. government and to the American people.
How significant is this loss, and what kind of central role, just remind the public of the central role Robert Mueller played in that investigation in 2016?
So Robert Mueller was a career public servant to his core. He started as a young man in the military, then became a prosecutor, and eventually became the director of the FBI. He is probably best known for the fact that he was the FBI director on 9/11. He had just taken office, just been appointed by George W. Bush, and he, remember, tenure for that job normally. And he went about this incredible reformation of the FBI and along with the Department of Justice to ensure that information about terror plots were shared between the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the intelligence community to be sure that the FBI was intercepting terror plots before they unfolded, not waiting to charge people, but to stop them because 9/11 was viewed as an intelligence failure. That is probably what he's best known for, but he's also, of course, quite famous for his rigorous and careful investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election, which Donald Trump blamed him for. I'm sorry, I'm going to lose you, but Donald Trump blamed him as a individual who weaponized the department against him. And I'm sorry, I'm going to lose you right about here. So sorry.
Okay, Carol Leonnig, thank you so much.
Interesting, right? Now, what we're understanding as well, come on, trying to find a good still for the guy. So yes, he led the investigation into the Russian interference in 2016 in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. He passed away at the age of 81, according to two people familiar with the matter. Mueller served as a director of the FBI from 2001 to 2013. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Justice appointed him as a special counsel to oversee an expanding inquiry into Russian interference in the 2016 election, following the dismissal of FBI Director James Comey by Donald Trump. Mueller became FBI director in September 2001, just days before September 11th, okay, the infamous tragic September 11th, and went on to lead the agency for 12 years. During his tenure, he oversaw major structural and cultural changes aimed at reshaping the Bureau into a modern intelligence organization focused on both national security and civil liberties. Under his leadership, FBI counterterrorism agents also raised concerns about abuses in secret detention facilities run by the CIA following the 9/11 attacks. So, of course, they're saying his cause of death was due to him living with Parkinson's disease for several years. But what's also insane, real quick, is one, this man served our country. Don't know really a whole lot about him personally, okay, except for what we just read, that information. But clearly, Trump was not a fan of him. How much of a fan he was not? He was not of this guy, so much that he went to his Truth Social and he said this: Robert Mueller has died, just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. Crazy. So right now, Trump is being slammed for saying this. Trump right now is being slammed for saying this about a man who served his country. And of course, Trump didn't like him because he was looking into possible Russian interference into the election, into 2016 Trump's election. Okay. But he literally said this out loud. Good, I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. I mean, here's the thing. Should we really be surprised about what he's saying? Remember what he said about Rob Reiner? When Rob Reiner tragically lost his life at the hands of his own son, alongside his wife, the mother of Nick Reiner. Remember what he said then too? So if you're an enemy of his, or if he's somebody you don't like, he's just like, yeah, I'm glad they're gone. He doesn't care about their lives. Interesting, right? Kind of shows you what kind of person he is. I'm just saying. He's not sitting there taking the diplomatic route, being like, oh, that's so terrible. Because the life lost is still life lost. He doesn't care. That's a real thing, guys. That is a real freaking thing. So now Trump is getting slammed for saying that. Yeah, it's not kind of low. It is low. It's low. Okay? It doesn't matter. I mean, let me be real. You know, there are people, we all have enemies, right? We all have people we dislike, right? But I've never had a situation where I'm like, man, I hope that person, when that person passes away, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I'll piss on their grave. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of savagery. It's sad, guys. It's sad. It's lower than low, in my personal opinion. You're the president of the United States. Be diplomatic for 5 seconds. You see what I'm saying? You ain't a mob boss. Be diplomatic for 5 seconds. Have a heart. Real talk. But he went that route. That's Trump, guys. We shouldn't be surprised about that. That is Trump. This is who we're dealing with. Remember, this be Trump, y'all. Sorry to say it like that, but that be Trump. Okay? Yeah, Trey, how do you miss 2 hours, bro? Damn, son. You lazy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But seriously, come on now. Come on. Just be diplomatic. You don't have to say that out loud like that. You can say it in your group of friends, like, I'm glad he's dead. But then get on the tweets and be like, oh, thank you so much for serving your country. And just be done. You know what I'm saying? And keeps it moving. But he didn't do that. Now, did he? Now, let's get into this, okay? We got another piece of information real quick. We got to get into this. We got to talk about drones. Yes. Real quick, we must talk about the drones. Okay? Remember when we were talking about how there were drones flying over Marco Polo Rubio's home and also Pete Hegseth's homes on military bases? Well, apparently there's more information than just that. Now they're saying that there are more drones that have been flying over military bases like a mother lover. Multiple drones, high-tech drones, flying over these Air Force bases, these military bases, looking at the B-52s, and I'm not talking about Rock Lobster. No. Not those, that B-52s, but B-52 bombers and Air Force's nuclear command. High-tech drones. This isn't just your son's little drone that's flying over, a little DJI, little drone. These are high-tech mother-loving drones that are also, you can't even block them. You can't even jam them. This is how high-tech these particular drones are. This is absolutely insane. So here it is. U.S. law enforcement is warning of a major threat to public safety and national security after swarms of high-tech drones flew over a base that houses B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command. Let's take a look at this. This is coming from ABC, baby.
Mystery drones over a major U.S. military base in Louisiana. Waves of high-tech drones flying over the highly sensitive area. That base housing B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command. So who's behind the drones? Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, law enforcement officials are warning of a significant threat to public safety and national security after swarms of high-tech drones invaded the airspace over one of the nation's most strategic military installations for nearly a week. A confidential briefing document reviewed by ABC News said earlier this month, multiple waves of 12 to 15 drones flew for hours at a time over sensitive areas of Barksdale Air Force Base near Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yo, come on. Multiple planes or multiple drones flying over these particular Air Force bases, and these Air Force bases are trying to block them. They're trying to jam them, like send out a signal, right? Kind of like what that criminal did at Nancy Guthrie's home using a Wi-Fi jammer. They're trying to use a jammer, and they can't jam the damn drones from the sky. That is a massive problem.
Home of B-52 bombers and the Air Force's nuclear command.
And the Air Force was not able to do anything to stop them.
The drones operated in loose formations, then dispersed across sensitive locations on the base, and they're unlike anything available off the shelf. The document said these drones have a much longer range and are resistant to jamming.
The sophistication we see in both how the drones were employed and the kinds of drones don't point to some hobbyist.
No.
They point to a state actor.
Again, this is not coming from some random kid who's got a little drone and he just decides to be a little butthole and flies his drone over there to check things out. No, these are high-tech drones that are flying over this area, over these air bases and clocking, doing recon work. What the hell are they doing? And they're saying these are long-range drones as well. And it's crazy. If you are sitting here going like, this is fake news, how is this fake news? There were already reports of drones flying over Pete Hegseth's home and Marco Rubio's home as well on military bases, and there was nothing they could do about it. Nothing, right? And I have yet to hear anything from the Pentagon, from Pete Hegseth himself, or anybody else say, oh yeah, those are our drones. Those happen to be our drones. Nope, they haven't said anything like that at all. And now they're saying that these drones are flying in other areas, and these are long-range drones. You cannot jam them. Nothing of that sort. This is a massive problem, guys.
Air Force Base confirmed to ABC News it is investigating multiple unauthorized drones operating in our airspace during the week of March 9th, not long after the start of the war with Iran.
The analysis we reviewed, David, said these still unexplained incursions are expected to continue, and law enforcement officials, David, have long expressed concerns about the country's ability to defend itself from drones. David?
And our team.
That's crazy, right? That's crazy. And that's come from ABC News, telling us that there are drones flying in areas that shouldn't be flown over. They've tried to jam them. They've tried to stop them from being in there, in the area, and they've been unsuccessful. What kind of high technology do they have that they'd be able to do that? That's not just some random kid. That's not just some random drone hobbyist that likes to fly their drones around. They said multiple drones flew in loose formation and then dispersed over the air base or these military bases to take a look and clock, take intel on where the B-52s were, and I guess some very important Air Force nuclear command was at as well. That is a huge problem, guys. I don't know about you guys, but that is a huge concern to me. We already heard them flying over the likes of two big-time officials, right? Two big heads, not heads, two big heads, right? And now you got that as well. That is absolutely insane. Remember, as much as we say, oh, we're done, Iran is over, it's done, it's finished. Are we sure about that? Remember sleeper cells. Remember what they've been saying. The foreign minister of Iran already said, be ready because your kids' tourist spots could also be ground zero for serious attacks. Again, they are far from being done. And God only knows what phase they're in. You never know. They might have phase 17 that they're trying to enact. You never know. You never know. Now, I do want to talk to you guys about this before we wrap up the show. All right. And this is also important. I told you guys we were going to talk about the gas prices, especially when it comes to travel, right? So United Airlines slashes flights as Iran war sends fuel prices soaring. So United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby says the airline is modeling oil at $175 per barrel and expects prices to stay above $100 through the end of 2027. So they're predicting that we're going to see high gas prices for well over a year. You realize that's not good, right? That's really bad. Hold on. because I have a feeling it's a commercial. Gotta love that. So U.S. Airlines, or United Airlines, I'm sorry. United Airlines is slashing flights as soaring fuel prices tied to the Iran war hit U.S. carriers, becoming the first major U.S. airline to announce a cut to capacity after weeks of industry warnings. So the CEO of United, Scott Kirby, said in a staff memo released Friday that the airline will cut out about 5% of capacity by trimming less profitable routes. He said the company is preparing for a prolonged period of elevated fuel prices, modeling oil at $175 per barrel and expecting it could remain above $100 through the end of 2027. He says the reality is jet fuel prices have more than doubled in the last 3 weeks. Jet fuel prices have doubled. More than doubled in the last 3 weeks. This is what he said in the statement. If prices stayed at this level, it would mean an extra $11 billion in annual expense just for jet fuel. For perspective, in United's best year ever, we made less than $5 billion. So Kirby stressed the airline is not panicking and plans to manage short-term pressure by cutting unprofitable flying while continuing its long-term growth strategy. So United said the cuts will total about 5 percentage points of its planned capacity, including roughly 3 points from off-peak flying, such as midweek and overnight routes. So like red eyes and all that, they're going to be cutting those down. About 1 point from reductions at Chicago O'Hare Airport, and another 1 point tied to suspended service to Tel Aviv and Dubai. The airline expects to restore its full schedule in the fall. Despite the pullback, Kirby said demand remains strong, noting that the airline has recorded its 10 biggest booked revenue weeks in its history over the last 10 weeks. He emphasized that United is not responding to the fuel shock with drastic measures seen in past downturns, such as furloughs or delaying aircraft orders. Instead, the airline plans to continue taking delivery of about 120 new planes this year, including 20 Boeing 787s, with another 130 aircraft due by April 2028, he said. So again, they're starting to cut back a little bit. They're not cutting back a lot of bit, but they're cutting back, guys, because they're realizing that it's getting really, really expensive to fly. It's really, really expensive to fuel these planes. And that also means that plane tickets are only going to go sky high. It's only going to get worse unless we figure something out. Unless we pull out of this war and we try to stop the craziness that's going on overseas. Like, I want to make this abundantly clear. America has already tried to lift sanctions on Iranian oil. I'm sorry. They tried to lift sanctions on some of the Iranian oil so that they can start selling it, right? Selling the Iranian oil. But you want to know what Iran did? How they responded to that? They said, "What oil?" They said, "What oil? We ain't got no oil to sell. What are you talking about? We ain't selling nothing." Real talk. America lifted sanctions on some of the Iranian oil. And Iran responded back saying, "What oil? What oil are you looking for? We ain't got no oil over here." Huh? Crazy, right? Because you know for a fact they sitting on copious amounts of oil. And the world is now hurting because of it, because of them holding that stuff back. They said that there was stoppage, right? There's like a clogging, if you will, in the Strait of Hormuz. That hasn't changed at all yet. There's still a clogging, right? There's still a stoppage in the Strait of Hormuz, and they're holding on to their oil. They ain't moving it nowhere. But America, Trump, actually the head of Treasury, if I'm correct, tried to release sanctions on the oil so that they could sell it, so that, the price of a barrel of oil could actually go down. And Iran said, hail to the no. Say that again. You're not going to sell. You have plenty. I see a whole bunch of barrels behind you. You say you ain't got none? No, what oil are you talking about? My friend, what do you talk about? We have no oil. You see the barrels right behind you? There's a whole bunch of them right behind you. And I'm sure they're filled with all of that liquid gold. You mean to tell me that they're not for sale? No, not for sale. Crazy. But you see the desperation coming from the U.S., though, right? Releasing sanctions on the oil so that Iran could sell that oil so that we can turn the world economy back on and it can kind of go back down, right? Just a little bit. And Iran is like, oil? We don't need no stinking oil, man. Oil? What oil you speak of? I don't see anything here. I don't see any oil. But there's barrels right behind you, sir. No, I don't know. I can't speak English. I can't speak the English. Huh? That's what's happening now. That's what's happening right now as we speak too. So, are we in a conundrum? Are we in a cluster F? That is a question I'd like to ask all y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me get some of these super chats. Okay. Sushi Jezebel. Thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I really do appreciate it. And for those of y'all who are all sheltering in place right now in the Middle East, and you are in the range of the chaos right now. One, it is truly, truly a blessing that you are tuning in to watch this show, even while you are hiding and sheltering in place and trying to get away from the chaos. I am praying for you guys. I am thinking of you guys. Real talk. Okay. Stay safe. Try to stay away from the chaos, and hopefully this will subside very, very soon. Okay. So nothing but prayers and nothing but good vibrations coming from me, going over to you guys over in the Middle East. Real talk. Okay. So I really do appreciate the support in watching this show. Seriously. That means the world to me. East Coast, what's up? Thank you so much. East Coast Kev, what's up, man? Thank you. I appreciate it. The cost of medicine could go up too. You're right. A lot of medicine, particularly blood pressure medicine, has some derivatives of petroleum in it. Really? I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. Groceries will also cost more. Iran plays chess. We play Tetris. Damn. Those are bars. Here's the thing. That's the one thing I'm concerned about too, right? Like I said, you're right. It's not only going to be about the cost of oil and the cost of gas. Because again, if gas gets expensive, then, boats, planes, right, that transport, let's just say bananas. This, you know what I mean? I don't know where bananas are coming from specifically, but let's just rock with that for a second. They're bringing in an export into America, just talking about America in general. They got to fly that or sail that into America. That costs money. That gas that's being put into that boat costs money. And if gas goes up, then the price of those bananas are only going to go up as well. You see what I'm saying? So it's only going to be bad. Transportation in general is going to be even more expensive. So even the smallest of things, when you girls, you going and buying some things on Shein or whatever, Temu or whatever those other sites that you buy, those little outfits that are, they cute, but they only work one time, but they're super cheap. They're not going to be cheap anymore. You see what I'm saying? If you're going to try to buy like something through Amazon, all goods, all things in general are going to go up even more because it costs money to transport those goods or those things across state lines or across the sea, etc. So again, it's going to be bad. And yeah, we're talking about medicine too. I totally forgot about medicine, right? Medicine too will be expensive. So thank you, East Coast Kev, for that reminder. Okay. Messi, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate you being a member for the past 15 months. Dear God, thank you so much. It's not just about oil. It's really about the artifacts of Gilgamesh. But they will never say that or talk about it. Artifacts of Gilgamesh. I'm gonna have to look that up. Okay. But thank you so much for that information. I'm gonna be real. I don't know about the artifacts of Gilgamesh, but I'll have to look into that. Okay. Real talk. I will. I'm going to trust and believe. Something wrong. Thank you so much. You're a civilian. Why would you be privy to that information? Well, here's the thing. I'm not sitting here expecting that the government's going to just hold all of American civilians' hands and go, so this is what we're about to do, and this is what that is, and that is what that is. You see what that is? That's what that is, okay? So now you understand the full scope of what we're doing. No, I'm not expecting them to tell us everything that they're about to do, but I will say that if they say that they're going after one thing, then I expect that one thing to be the goal, to be the focus. That's not the focus anymore. You see what I'm saying? And also, I think it's kind of important to know whether or not our loved ones, our brothers and sisters, our best and brightest are being sent overseas. I think it's kind of important to know a little bit of that. It'd be nice to have a little foreshadowing, a little heads up, not just out of nowhere, your best buddy is suddenly deployed and you're like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Or your son or your daughter is being deployed. You're like, damn, that's terrible. Over a war that a lot of people don't agree with. So yes, I don't expect Trump and the likes of Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio and all them to tell us exactly what's going on. But at the same time, I just feel like there should be some respect left on the table for all of us. Okay? And right now, we're just hearing 15 different stories and 15 different goals, and we don't know which one is the true goal. And that's the problem. Is it really about getting uranium out of Iran? But this entire time, we've been thinking about it. It's about regime change. Like I said, the fact that they can't give us a specific goal that they're trying to achieve is a massive problem, if you ask me, right? Jordan, thank you so much for the love. Love your show, Pascal. Robert Mueller passed away. Yes, I just talked about that, but thank you so much for letting me know in the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ride, you have a couple of them, so thank you so much for all the super chats here. I'm going to read right through them, okay? So Ride, again, thank you. Not to mention they rushed subpar ICE training. Yes, they did. We already know about that. Some of them can't even read. Some of them can't even read. And then they had 47 weeks of training when it used to be way more training than that back in the day. But now it's 47 weeks because Trump just likes it because he's 47. Yeah. Moving on. He's good. His good, glad he is unalive post is so insane. Yes, it is insane. But at the same time, we've heard this kind of thing before from Trump, have we not? Right? Trump's post celebrating Mueller's passing. Yes, it's insane. It is insane, but it's also very Trump. You see, what's wild is that, say later on in his life, when he passes, and people say like that kind of reaction about his passing, are people going to get thrown under the bus for saying like, good he gone? Because he's done that to other people who've lost their lives. Think about that for a second. Ain't that wild? Get ready for it, though. There's going to be people who are going to throw all people under the bus that say something like that. Okay. You shouldn't be saying stuff like that. You shouldn't be celebrating the demise of somebody. I think that's absolutely insane. Sloppy work. But at the same time, he's doing it. That's our president. Super May, thank you so much for the love. I hate war. My dad fought in Vietnam. He's something our family. Okay. He fought in Vietnam. Our family was never the same. I think that's what you're trying to say. It still hurts all of us. War tears our souls, hearts, and minds. Yeah, you're right. I agree 110%. I agree 110%. War is never good. War is never good. War is never good. Especially one that's just started out of nowhere. I mean, I get it. They say it was started to prevent something else from happening here on American soil, but that remains to be seen, right? Moving on, though. Ride again. Thank you so much for the love. My blood is boiling from Trump's post on Mueller. I think a lot of people's blood is boiling on that, and then some, right? You definitely can get a rise out of people now, can't he? Right? Let's move on, though. Thank you so much for the super chat, though. And thank you, Michelle Woods. I appreciate it. Side note, did anyone see Afro Man won in court? Yes, he did. He most definitely did. And what's crazy is that we talked about it in another show like a couple days ago about him winning his defamation lawsuit. And freedom of speech prevailed. Let's be real. Freedom of speech definitely prevailed, which is pretty dope if you ask me, because I think he has every right. He has every right to say what he wants to say or write a song about somebody, especially when they raid his home for no reason. They raided his home for no reason whatsoever. Okay? But the lemon pound cake took me out. And Lick'em Lolisa is insane. Okay? But they made that bed, y'all, when they decided to unjustifiably raid his home, find nothing, and then tell him to fix the damages himself. That's messed up. So what are you going to do? You're a creative. That's how you pay your bills. That's how you live your life. You're going to write a song about it. And hopefully people will buy it so he can go and buy a new door. Pay for the construction to his home. You see what I'm saying? So again, crazy. But, you know, that's what they did. They did that, y'all. They did that their damn selves. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Please do me a favor before we head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button. If you're watching on these other platforms, hit it. Okay? I don't even know where we're at with the likes. But hey, if you can get it to like 700 likes before we head out, that'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here. Follow me on all my platforms. We made it to 100,000 subscribers or 100,000 followers on Facebook, which is amazing. So make sure you're following. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here. Okay? Subscribe, please and thank you. Hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right? I may be on a little bit later on this evening. We'll find out. Okay? Depending on what's going on in the world. All right. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Thank you, Mimi, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And if I don't see you, be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.